friends, Jewel back with another super cool astrology video. I want to talk about composite Mercury square to Pluto in the composite chart. What happens when we see this very testy aspect show up between two people? So Mercury is the communication factor in the relationship. It's the meeting of the minds, how we communicate or don't. And the everyday habits as well, our everyday routine. And when we've got Pluto in the composite chart, that's our combined power, our combined stubbornness, our combined wounds. Pluto is really the way that we blend, where our desires and our power drives are really coming together. So when we have these two meeting in a square, squares are always about a certain amount of tenseness or friction in composite charts. And when we have these two in a square aspect, there is a lot of control, friction, and difficulty when it comes to the communication in the relationship between the two people. There is a certain tyranny that is set up where we are both trying to be the boss of the communication, you could say. So there is a lot of resistance towards seeing each other's point of view and to understanding each other's perceptions, because that is also what Mercury is about, point of view and perception, and the way that we, perceive the immediacy of our environment. So this is a very difficult aspect in a composite chart, because if we can't see each other's point of view, then what we know is what we know, and we are willing to fight for that. So there's a way that this particular square can cause the two people to feel that they are forced, or one of the people out of the two feel that they are forced to see or respond to the other person as they need it to be. So there's a way that this particular square demands that we take ourselves out of our own personal perception and put ourselves in the place of the other person, really, really, truly putting ourselves in the place of the other person. Because a lot of us, like to give lip service to it. Yeah, I saw things from his point of view. No, we want to really, truly imagine what it is to be the other person. Really imagine it. And that can help us to start to see why we just can't get them to come over to our way of thinking. Because we're both wanting the other one to come over to our way of thinking, but we are not willing to go over to their way of thinking. So perception is not truth. Perception is what you can see from your point of view. And when we can truly incorporate someone else's perceptions into our point of view, it enlarges our ability to maybe be able to start to see truth. Truth is not personal. It is actually impersonal. And when we can understand the other person's needs, thinking, what they're asking for, their perspective, this fixes this particular square if we are both doing that. If both of us are going outside of our own personal perception and trying to understand the other person's, this can work, because we're probably still going to be experiencing some amount of struggle when it comes to wanting our point of view or our perception or our opinions, because opinions are huge with this one, our opinions to be heard, really heard and acknowledged, and we want the other person to tell us they acknowledge it. And if only one of us is doing that, it creates more resentment. We both have to be willing to go outside of our personal point of view to see and incorporate the other ones. Then we can start making the square work in a way that has forced our personal perceptions, force Mercury, force Pluto, personal perceptions Mercury, it's forced them to enlarge. And so our partner, by way of behaving towards us and us behaving towards them as single-minded or as mentally and verbally stubborn, by dealing with them and having this issue and being forced to go out of our understanding, our personal understanding, to have an understanding of their perception, it forces the relationship into a place of large perspective. And so it's interesting that the way that we have this closed off interaction causes us, if we're using it right, because a lot of people don't, they actually end up breaking up as a result of the square. If you're really doing your work and trying to get beyond it, then it forces you to come out of that original way of dealing with each other altogether. So we become personally enriched by understanding another person's point of view. So it's really interesting that the selfishness and the stubbornness that this one comes on with leads to the opposite within the relationship. Most people are not going to get to that place when they have this particular square. This one will put a lot of people into couples therapy, because Mercury is also our daily interaction and our daily habits, and those tend to be very filled with struggle between the two of us. And so there is a way that we feel like we're blocked by the other person. There's blocked communication. There's a blocked way of pursuing, our daily habits. There's a lot of resentment that can come up between the two of us as a result of this. And resentment leads to division. So this is a really, really important square to address if you find that you have it, and to address it early on, and to understand, really truly understand why it's there, and that we both need to tackle it. Because again, not one of us can be the only one that decides to try to fix this between the two of us. It will not work. It will not work. It will create more of those feelings of resentment and of not being understood by the other person. So unless both of you are acknowledging that the steps that you need to take are the same, there's not a lot of hope of fixing this one. We both have to agree to do it, and to do it mutually, and to do it very much the same way. So I hope this was helpful. If it was, please subscribe to my channel. You can find me on the internet at truthandaspectastrology.com, Facebook and Instagram, and other social media at Truth and Aspect Astrology. Yes, I do private consultation, but I'm mainly a relationship and intimacy astrologer, but I interpret all types of charts. And please find me on Patreon and support me there so I can make more videos for you more often. And you can hope this was helpful, and I will be back super soon with more super cool videos. Bye-bye.